Just starting with you, Sarah Lee, can you pinpoint a moment in your childhood when it became apparent that you were part of quite a significant family in American music?
It's hard to pinpoint a significant moment because it kind of just came on gradually. As I grew up, I heard more and more from other people, how much our family meant to them and stuff like that. And so it's hard to actually pinpoint a moment, but if I could, I guess it would be when I turned like 18, 19. It took a while and for it to really hit me, and when I became of age where I was out in the world and among people and doing my own thing as it were, I came across people who really loved and respected my family, and those people became my friends, and through them I really found out who my grandfather was, and all the songs he had written and what they meant, and people like Pete Seeger and Ramblin' Jack Elliott and people like that who were around me my whole life really became sort of some people who were significant in the world, and it took me joining the world at 18 to realize that. I think that's probably when I realized, who my family was and what they meant to people.
Sure. Johnny, there's a musical background through your family as well, and quite a significant literary background too.
For Johnny?
Yeah. Is he gone, has he?
I don't know. Johnny?
Hello, Johnny.
I had to go cut the washing machine. Sorry.
we're just saying
I
this.
have to do a little editing there.
That's okay. We can fix that. We were just saying that there's a musical background in your family as well, and quite a significant literary background.
Yeah, my grandfather was a great tenor singer. My grandmother plays violin. On my dad's side of the family, there were a lot of. They live in North Wilkesboro, which is where they have the Merle Watson Festival every year. My family comes from up in there, and a lot of fiddlers. Up there, and on the literary side, my aunt Gail is married to John Steinbeck's son, Tom Steinbeck, who's a great writer and does screenplays, and he's a lot of fun to be around. It was a lot of fun when Sara Lee and I first met, for Tom and Sara Lee to kind of hang out, because there was a connection between Woody and John, and so, yeah, there's some background there.
So how did the two of you first meet?
How did we first meet?
Yeah.
We had both moved to Los Angeles around fall of '97, and there was a particular venue in Los Angeles that was having bluegrass that night, which is not of the norm for the City of Angels. Mm-hmm. And we were there and had a mutual friend introduce us.
Were you both always destined to head for a career in music? Were there any other career options for either of you?
I was not. I kind of got sideswiped by the music industry. I started out just kind of wanting to be normal, as normal gets. I grew up in the family, so in the business. So to me, it was like I had already, experienced all that and wanted to go and experience. I always wanted to be like an actress, or, if that didn't work out, maybe I'd be teaching or something along those lines. But, both of those things are performing. And when I started performing, just, on accident, with my dad, or, when I first met Johnny, I started playing the guitar and found myself, singing a song on stage here and there, and found that I really loved just the art of performance itself. And that's what I loved about teaching. That's what I loved about acting. And so in a way, I'm doing exactly what I thought I would be doing, but not necessarily in music, when when I started playing, I also realized that I really loved singing and playing and bringing out, thoughts and ideas of, my grandfather's. I love to sing my grandfather's songs and bring those things to people. And so, no, I never thought I'd be a music person or a musician, but nevertheless, I really love it. And Johnny's been doing it for a while.
I caught the bug a long time ago.
Your background's a little bit more rock and roll than the music that you're doing now. Tell us about some of the bands that you were with.
High school started playing in bands and that kind of stuff, and then got serious around 1989 with some neighborhood buddies. Started a band called Queen Sara Saturday in Durham, North Carolina, which was a going music scene in the early 90s. Chapel Hill and Squirrel Nut Zippers and Superchunk and Ben Folds 5, a lot of good stuff coming out of there. And we were around all that, and we signed a record deal with Sony in the early 90s and did a lot of touring. And then played with another group from Chapel Hill called Dylan Fence for a while, where we did a couple major tours, one with the Black Crowes over in Europe, and that's what really led to me meeting Sara in Los Angeles. So, I've kind of been around that, and then meeting Sara. I have to honestly say I didn't have a Pete Seeger record at the time, and now I do, and I love it, and it's done a lot for. It's broadened my horizons as far as a writer and performer and everything. There's a lot more to it,
Now, Sara Lee, I believe, reading up on you, you had a bit of a punk rock sort of phase there as well, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I loved listening to punk. I still do. And
she claims that's the only reason she really liked me when we first met, because I knew the words to some of the Minor Threat songs.
He had a Minor Threat record in his collection, and I thought, wow, he's pretty cool.
And it's not if you think about it, it's not a huge stretch from Minor Threat to Woody,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It's really not. Music, some people may find it abrasive, but
Woody
really
wasn't always easy to listen to either.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they had the same ideals. Just like the questioning authority and always having that other side of things that that the common person doesn't really think about.
There's no fluffy. It was all,
It's real. And
it's real.
Woody was, I think, one of the first punk rockers there was.
Exactly. Yeah, when you put it like that. I believe you were writing a bit of poetry first, Sara Lee, but you didn't entertain ideas at that stage of putting these words to music?
Yeah, Johnny and I came across this one particular song, and it didn't have a tune that we know of, and it just kind of came out at us. We picked up these lyrics, and I claim that we stole them from the archives because we failed to get permission. Of course, I didn't really think that I needed to get permission, but I didn't get into too much trouble anyhow. We went in and we picked up these lyrics, and Johnny and I just automatically started singing like the same melody together. And it just seemed like that's the way it was supposed to go. So we ended up doing this song. It's called There'll Be No Church Tonight. And it's a song that Woody wrote. I'm not quite sure when. I think it was back in the 40s. And we just put a tune to it about a year ago.
Now, touring, you both tour together as a duo?
Yes.
And
we tour together, and we also play with my dad as well, opening his shows and playing with him.
We're working on a duo record right now.
That was my next question.
Been kind of, actually, it's been good for us to tour with two records. It's made it a little hard as far as people writing about us and writing about one particular record, But we're excited about the new record that we're working on, and hopefully it'll be out in the summer.
Excellent. Because both your solo albums, they pretty much came out around the same time, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There weren't any thoughts
That's
of that?
actually when we decided to kind of start touring together. When those records came out, we weren't playing together as a duo. And we did a show here in South Carolina, and it went really well. And we thought, well, at least we can be together more.
And now we have a little baby girl. Her name is Olivia Nora. She's 14 months old, so
She's with us everywhere we go.
We've done about 180 shows this year and 150 last year. And so, she travels with us, and we travel around as one big family.
She's a seasoned veteran of the road already.
Slowed it down, but it sped us up. You were going to say something, John? Go ahead.
Just saying, she's a seasoned veteran of the road already at such a young age.
Yeah, she has a passport and everything.
Now, I believe there's a lot of vocal harmonising in your live show together.
Yeah.
What to you is the key to successful harmony singing?
Oh, listening to the other person, really.
Feeling it. You got to feel it.
Yeah.
A lot of people will sit down at a piano and block out harmonies and thirds and fifths, and Johnny and I really just we just sing it. And if it turns out it sounds good, then great, we'll keep it.
We're big fans of, I think I can speak for Sara Lee on this too. We're both big fans of the Carter family and the Louvin brothers and the Beatles and those kind of tight Everly brothers, and people compare us a lot to the Everly brothers. Everly brother and sister.
And I mean, also when you're singing with just two people, you have a lot of freedom. I mean, rather than with three people, you have to really stick to a certain amount of notes. But when you're just with two people, you have a lot of freedom to be, hitting the thirds and the fifths and really having a lot of fun doing it. And so you get this kind of passionate sound when it's just the two of you. And
there can only be one train wreck instead of another train wreck.
Right. It can only sound a little bad. Only for a second.
Yeah. Keeping such a busy schedule as you do on the road, and also now managing a family, the songwriting, where do you find the time?
Oh, we get 3 days off.
I was just working on a new song right before you called. So,
Can
you write while you're on the road?
We kind of.
Why don't you go ahead and answer first, Sara?
I was just going to say writing's kind of a consistent. I mean, it's constant. Hopefully you have a notepad when the inspiration comes, or a line, or something you want to remember. And that's how I write. I mean, I just kind of write all the time, or if I'm reading something that comes to mind, I just kind of write it in my notepad. And when I find the time, I kind of leaf through my notepad and try and puzzle something together. That's kind of always, and we do have a lot of time driving down the road. We drive a lot, and so that's a great time to write. And also when we get home, we have a few days off here and there that we'll try and conjure up some songs. Johnny?
I've recently found that being at home is much better for songwriting for me. I don't know if it's just a phase I'm going through, but if I can kind of really hunker down and keep my focus on a batch of songs, or one thing, or a line, or a chord progression, whatever it is, then being on the road. I do a lot of the driving and stuff on the roads. I found recently that I'm kind of paying more attention to my defensive driving more than anything.
Road signs.
And my blind spots, And so for me, being at home has been really fruitful.
Both of your records, one thing that stood out to me on both your albums, they're both very strong lyrically. A great turn of phrase on both albums. How much attention do you pay do you tinker around a lot with your lyrics, both of you?
together?
Yeah, do you like, or together or separately, do you spend a lot of time editing your lyrics?
I don't do a lot of rewriting. I sometimes don't even write them down. I read somewhere one time that James Taylor never writes anything down, and I was like, hey, I don't do that either, so he's pretty good. So I don't, but I have written stuff down before and continue to do that. Now I know that there are other writers. I just read something recently on Chuck Brodsky, who's a good friend of ours, where he will spend hours and hours rewriting and claims that's where the song is. And so I think I kind of fall in between somewhere along there. I don't mess with them too much, but on some songs I have messed with stuff.
I think Johnny's he actually rewrites a little more than I do, but I like his notion. He, it's almost like if it's worth remembering, then, that's why he doesn't write it down. It's like if it's worth remembering, then it must be good.
But the other side of that, too, is where you will go through a notebook or something and like, oh, I wrote that. That's cool. Why didn't I do anything with that? So, go ahead, Sarah. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was, I'm a little more notebook dependent. I'll write and write and write, and if it came out that way, I have a hard time rewriting because I just feel like, if it came out that way, that's the way it was supposed to be. And sometimes I'm a little headstrong about it because, Johnny will come in and try and change.
A little headstrong.
Change something, and I go, well, no, that's just the way it goes. I wrote it that way, So,
it's written in stone when she writes it, John.
But I like that. I feel like that's the way it's supposed to be. And actually, as I'm learning more, because I just started writing songs not too long ago. I just started playing the guitar and being, starting to do this about 5 years ago. So I have a lot to learn. But, and as I'm learning more, I'm realizing that changing a word here and there isn't so bad.
Yay!
Thanks to Johnny.
Now, Sara Lee, we've established that you're a reluctant performer to begin with. Johnny, were you very much involved in encouraging Sara Lee to take up music full-time?
I think it was pretty much equal. I've gone through phases where I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And Sara has been there to say, keep going, you're great. And that's really helped me in the last few years. This is not an easy thing that we do. I was never really a performer per se. I'm just kind of playing in rock bands and stuff. You can hide behind the amps and rock out.
I thought he asked if because I was reluctant that you might have helped me, persuaded me.
Yeah.
To go into the business.
I guess I did. I don't know. As soon as I taught her a couple chords on the guitar, her mom caught wind of it from somebody, and next thing I knew, she is leaving LA to go on tour with Arlo. So,
yeah.
I kind of at the time I regretted showing her the chords because she left.
Well, it's true though. I mean, as soon as he taught me some chords, I realized I was having the time of my life playing guitar, and I would play for 6 and 7 hours a day, and then have to go to work or something, and just be playing the whole rest of the time, and I was really bummed out about, having to go and do something else. The guitar was all I wanted to do, and I wanted to learn 100 songs, and I wanted to, write 100 songs. So I was as soon as I got the guitar on my hands, it kind of just took off, and I didn't need very much persuading after that.
Now, you mentioned that you both do tour with Arlo from time to time, and I believe he has penciled in plans for an Australian visit next year. Any chance you'll be joining it?
We hope so. Right now we're kind of in a a gray area because we're getting ready to come out with with the duo record that we're going to record in the next few months. And depending on when that comes out and what the circumstances are around that record will depend on if we get to go or not. But I really hope so.
Yeah, I surf, so I really want to go.
It would be good. Would be good.
Yeah, I would love to make it down there and see your country.
Does your dad give you a lot of career advice?
Yeah. Well, I ask him more than he gives. A lot of times he just says, "Oh, do whatever you want to do."
He's a good sounding board.
But he does. He has, he's been through a lot in the business, being in it for 40 years, and has really great advice for us. And he also knows when to let us make our own decisions. So he's a very wise man when it comes to that.
So let's talk about this upcoming record. Is it mainly going to be the songs are all collaborative efforts between the two of you?
Most of them are, yeah. We have a couple of duet-style songs, and plain and simple. Johnny wrote his verses, I wrote mine, and we wrote the bridge together or something like that. Most of them are collaborative. Some of them, of course, Johnny wrote, and I'll just sing a harmony, and I wrote, and he'll sing a harmony. So it's a good blend of all those things, I think.
And is it just the two of you appearing on the album, or there'll be backup players as well?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Right.
Not so sure yet.
We're not sure how to. Well, you'll hear it.
Now, something else I want to talk to you about that I know you've been doing is some work visiting schools and doing a bit of an historical workshop on folk music. How's that been going?
Yeah.
We haven't been doing a lot of that lately, which I miss. We did a lot of that last year, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of the kids here today don't really know about folk music, so when you walk in with a dobro resonator or
even
a cool-looking guitar,
an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, they've never seen it before.
If you're watching MTV and stuff, you're seeing a lot of dance and stuff. You're hardly seeing the instruments themselves. And
they probably know what bikini was in style more than what dobro.
But it's very cool, and it's such a rewarding effort as far as just going in and playing. I mean, we played at all ages, kindergarten, 3-year-olds to 18, and it's really great to open their eyes to music that's that tells stories, and back into the history of their families and the history of their country and stuff. So we really enjoy doing that. It's a lot of fun, and it's keeping in the tradition. I mean, my grandfather used to do that all the time too, and he wrote a lot of kids' songs and stuff, which we'll do for the younger kids. It's actually it's the best times, really, playing for the kids.
Well, Sara Lee, Johnny, I want to thank you both for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you both. And I'm glad we got through it all before the delivery man arrived.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
All the best. Best of luck with the new album. We'll be looking forward to that. And I can tell you, my fingers are already crossed that you'll be joining Arlo down here next year. It'll be fantastic to see you.
Ours too. Thanks, John.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Thanks to you both. Bye-bye.
Bye.